Happy snow day, everybody. Greetings from the top of the ridge where it's becoming icier and icier as the hours pass. So I'm not too sure if we'll even be there tomorrow. So I thought before we get too far behind, I'd give a little lecture today on mode mixture and borrowed chords. I'm not going to teach the Neapolitan section until we get back in class, just because I think that is something that will produce even more questions than this topic. So let's go ahead and get started. Just a few announcements. You'll see it on As You Learn. I have most of your uploads from Common Chord Modulation 3, so even though the due date was yesterday, feel free to upload that all tomorrow. Workbook page 164, you can bring that with you to class, and we can talk through that analysis. There was some great discussion on this last night. If you have any questions with that, of course, go ahead and post them on As You Learn on email or on the Facebook page. But I think we're pretty clear in some of the comments last night about the modulation from B flat and how we get to F. There's a lot of secondary dominance in number 1. Number 2, I just wanted you to go through that first phrase. You'll see you start in G, and then somehow you get to C major on that cadence through a pivot chord. So we can talk through that, and I can post answers on that if you would like. So the Winter Wonderland is also something I will ask that you bring with you to class on Wednesday. That's going to create a great deal of discussion as well. So your homework's posted. You can see it. You probably have already done number 1 and number 2, which is the Common Chord 3, Workbook 164, and then go ahead and do the Winter Wonderland and the workbook pages I'll assign at the end of this short lecture. What we're going to talk about today is mode mixture. So I'm going to talk you through a progression. I don't have a piano down here. I have a very happy 4-year-old that there's no way she'd let me do this. Here's a basic progression. So you can see very diatonic. Let me put my little 6 in there so you can see it and get my inversions correct. There's a Cat 6-4. All's very clear in the key of F. No modulation, nothing that doesn't make sense. Well, if I want to just create a little bit of dissonance here, what I can do is I can take this 4 and I can make it a minor 4. So if you're near a piano or can get access to a piano while you're watching this video, you might want to hit pause and just play it so you can hear an idea of what it sounds like. The big difference here, a B flat major chord has B flat, D, F, while a B flat minor chord has B flat, D flat, F. Well, what's happening is we're actually borrowing pitches from the parallel minor. Now, what does that mean? Don't forget the difference between relative and parallel. That means that this D flat right here that I can't explain in the key of F is being borrowed from F minor. So you can do that, and that's so exciting. It just opens up your world of chords that you can borrow any of the chords from the parallel minor scale. Now, if you're comparing major and minor, what that typically means is that the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th are going to be lowered. So when I take that same scale, here's F versus F minor. So you can kind of see right here. Here's all your diatonic chords, and here's your diatonic chords in a natural minor. That means I could be going along in F major and go 1, 2, 5, 6, like a typical progression. And I can go 1, 2, 5, and go borrow this major 6 in a progression. It's highly chromatic because, for instance, in this case, if I'm in F major, the 6 is D, F, A. But if I'm down here, it's D flat, F, A flat. So I got 2 pitches that don't belong in the key. Now, you're not going to even take the time to figure out if it's a secondary because it's not going to resolve to the key that, so like D flat major is a 5 in the key of G flat, which is what in the key of, no, G flat doesn't exist in F. So here we got a major chord within this context. I just picked a progression here. And we'll call this a flat 6. So my progression would look like this. 1, 2, 5, flat 6. That's my chromatic chord right there. And what that means is that I'm stealing notes from the parallel minor. Okay? So any of these chords are fair game. 2 diminished, we'll always call it a flat 3 because you don't want to just put 3 because that would look like it'd be A, C sharp, E. So you put a flat in front of it so you know that it's A flat, C, E flat. you're building a major chord, if you're up here in F, you're building a major chord on the lower third scale degree. Minor 4, minor 5, flat 6, same issue, and flat 7, same thing. Okay? So those are all your borrowed chords. We have two more that you're going to see. One is a 7, fully diminished 7, and one is the 2 diminished 7. So if you're in the key of F, E, G, B flat, D flat. You guys have been writing E, G, B flat, D flat forever, but the D flat is not diatonic in the key of F. It is borrowed from the minor. In 2, G, B flat, D flat, F. Sorry about that. This D flat here, that's borrowed from F minor. Sometimes you're going to see a 2 half diminished 7 chord in a minor key. And the way you explain it is the D flat is coming from the parallel minor, which has 4 flats. B, E, A, D. So let's look at a couple of these in context just so you can see. Grab your book. Go to page 348. Real quick, I'll get the audio up here. We'll just do a couple of them. This is, actually go to, 348.
Example 20.
That's the organ. Okay.
Example 21, 3.
Okay, so what's happening there? I see F flats, and they're pretty consistent. Okay, so, but there is no cadence. I mean, if it was moving to a key that had F flat, it would have to be B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Well, I don't see any G flats or C flats, so modulation's not happening there. So let's look to see how we can explain it. Does A flat minor have an F flat in it? Yeah, because it's the relative of C. So it does have an F flat. And when I stack that chord, you see it in orange there on page 348. When I stack that chord, G, B flat, D flat, F flat, that makes up our fully diminished 7 chord, which is in fact a borrowed chord. That's where that F flat's coming from and how you would explain it. Look at another one. Go to 21-5. There's a modulation in here. It's on page 349. There's a modulation in here for sure to B flat, and it's all marked for you. And you got some secondary chords. But look at that chord that's in orange there. You got an E flat, G flat, B flat. Well, that can't be a secondary chord because secondaries are always diminished or always major. It's a minor chord. So then I ask myself, can I explain that G flat as a minor chord in a major key? Well, yeah, because 4 is one of our borrowed chords. Don't forget, it's in your book as well, but if you look at this chart right here, down here at the bottom, 1, 2 diminished, major 3, minor 4, minor 5, major 6, and major 7. These are all possibilities. So let's take a listen so you can hear how this sounds.
Example 21, 5.
Great. So if you look at the top of page 349 and the things that you're looking there with the G flat, which can be explained in the key of B flat minor. But like for the E natural, you can't explain that in B flat minor, so you know that that has to be some sort of secondary chord, and you can stack that up to see how it's a 7 diminished 7 of 5. So I hope you're getting an idea of how these work in the context of the music. Let's look at one just so you can hear how drastic the flat 6, the flat 3, and the flat 7 are. What's different about these are that in a major scale, the 3, the 6, and the 7 are the ones that are lowered to make a scale minor, to make a natural minor. So because the root of the chord is one of the borrowed pitches, it sounds a little bit more dissonance, let's say, but creates a lot of character. So let's listen to one more. This is 351, example 21-8. Here we go.
Example 21, 8.
Minor 164. It almost sounds like you're modulating there for just a second. You're like at the very end of the second system there on page 351. You're like, wait, am I going to G flat? No, you're not. It's just temporarily, because of that secondary dominant there, you're temporarily borrowing pitches from B flat natural minor. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Let's do a couple of just exercises that'll look like your homework to make sure we're good. Go to page 361. I'll grab my board here and my pen. Okay, so we're going to skip the ones that say N, but we'll do two of the other ones. Let's start with number 1. So I got A major. So I'll do this like so. I got A major and I got 2 diminished 6. Well, typically in a major key, 2 is not diminished. So we know we're doing something fun. So what's 2 in the key of A? B. D. And to make it diminished, I have to make an F natural. Well, F natural doesn't exist in A major, but it does in A minor. So I'll just make sure that I transfer it up like so. So this is a diminished chord. I go to the root, build the quality of chord, what it's telling me to do, and just understand that the F is coming from natural minor. How about number 5? We're in the key of F. We're in the key of F here. And I got a flat 6. So you go up 6 from F, which gives you D, and you lower it, which gives you D flat. So start on F, go up 6 and lower it. Build a major chord. Now where is this D and A flat coming from? F minor. So I just put the pitches up like so. Good. All right, let's do one at the bottom. I think you guys are getting the gist of this. What about number 3? Number 3, this is letter B at the bottom of page 361. So when I write out all those notes, I got D flat, G, F flat, and B flat. Okay, that's hard to see. D flat, G flat, B flat, and F flat. So when I arrange that into thirds, I'm left with G, B flat, D flat, and F. G, B flat, D flat, and F. Well, what quality chord is that? Well, sorry, I forgot my D flat. There you go. Right there. G, B flat, D flat, F. Well, that's a half diminished chord. And if I'm in the key of A flat, what is G in A flat? Well, it's a 7. And then that F flat is going to make that fully diminished. So I got a fully diminished 7. What's the lowest sounding pitch? Root, 3rd, 5th, or 7th. We got the 5th, so we got a 7, fully diminished 4-3. The F flat, again, is coming from A flat minor. So what I want you to do for homework after you kind of watch this and get the basic idea is to try to do in your workbook 203 and 204, and we'll definitely go over that in class. If you have any questions, post them on the Facebook page, and look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. Bye.